you're talking about the brands taking a leadership role in content creation. That was sort of one of the themes around YouTube. As opposed to the gatekeeper, it's sort of the followers to the brand leaders. So let's talk about sort of how brands are attaching themselves or should be attaching themselves to influencers on YouTube.
Well, I think there's two things, there's two parts to that question. In terms of brands as publishers, brands as content creators, whilst I think there's a great opportunity because I believe within any brand there's creativity and there's thought and there is an alignment with what the strategic imperatives of that particular brand might be. But what I was alluding to on the panel conversation was, if you look at a conference table, there's one right behind us, who are the constituents who sit around that table? Is it your traditional creative agency? It's your media agency? But is there a Hollywood studio? Is there, and I say a Hollywood, is there a content creator whose primary business? Is it NBC? Is it Fox? Is it ESPN's created stories for brands for a long time? So that's number one. Who is the partner for the brand, or are they doing this themselves? Pepsi, built a famous now, production facility in the meatpacking district, and lots of people are wondering why. Well, I guess they wanted to create content on their own. That's separate from the influencer marketplace. And what we heard from Mark Mathieu was the great partnership with Casey Neistat and Samsung. And Claire Atkinson properly asked Mark the question, how do you make sure that you're aligning yourself with somebody who doesn't turn out to be PewDiePie, who, whilst they had millions and millions of subscribers, were saying things that were wildly objectionable, virtually neo-Nazi kind of comments. And when you've identified that as a partner, you take a risk. I think it's true with celebrity endorsers, and I think it's true with influencers, because we shouldn't forget that influencers on YouTube are just this generation's version of a celebrity endorsement.
Michael, on a completely different topic, the whole issue of the agency switcheroo, the pitching and the movement, and there's a lot going on. There's certain WPP changes. Tell us what your thoughts are about sort of the state of the media agencies and the role of MediaLink and how you sort of see things shaping up.
Well, when you say the role of the media agencies, I would take it a step up and say the role of the holding companies. And there's been lots of talk over the last couple of weeks with the changes at the helm of WPP. Is that in fact a tipping point relative to the entire ecosystem of holding companies? It's an important step. It's an important moment. I don't know that it's truly a tipping point, but I think everybody's reimagining how the large holding companies are able to continue to thrive. They'll survive, but how they're able to continue to thrive. And I wrote a piece for Ad Age, or at least I was interviewed for a piece in Ad Age, and I talked about 2018 being very much like 1859. You might have read it, where I said in 1859, Charles Dickens wrote A Tale of Two Cities, clearly for some the best of times, for others the worst of times. And interestingly enough, in 1859, another Charles Darwin, wrote On the Origin of the Species, which talked very clearly about the adaptability and the need to adapt to survive and the survival of the fittest. I think that's where we are today. I think if the agency holding companies can identify where the market is going and adapt to that and loosen the yoke of infrastructure that's around their neck, I think they will thrive. If they don't, I think they'll survive, but it could end up being a long, drawn-out sort of melting ice cube if they don't adapt.